Hello friends, welcome to the course on C programming. Now we are in the last part of our C programming course, last chapter in fact, the file management, and this chapter has been divided into two parts. The first part is this video wherein we'll be covering simple introductory aspects of file management, starting from why do we need file management, and then we'll be having some examples showing in certain situation you need to write the data permanently, and then we'll show with some couple of small examples that how can we store data permanently in files. And in our second part we'll be having a little advanced concepts of file management. So let us start with the file management. We'll be asking two questions to ourselves because we are looking for the answers for these two questions. The first one is why do we need file management, and the second question is how do we use file management syntactically. Now let me tell you that sometimes file management or file handling or file input output, file IO, these are the same or similar words sometimes used interchangeably. So means ultimately they are same stuff. So let us start with the first question, why do we need file management or why do we need file handling? So for that there are two different storage mechanisms. If you remember in the very first video we have seen this temporary versus permanent storage mechanism. So what is temporary storage? Means something which is stored temporarily, something which is stored for some time, something which is stored on ad hoc basis. Right, so for that computer has got a main memory. So when we run a program and we have some variables, so variables are nothing but data, so those variables are stored in main memory because the data in the in the variable are there only during the execution of the program. The moment program terminates, the variables are going to lose those data. Even when you shut down the computer, the data in main memory are gone. You cannot store them permanently. Like for example, if electricity goes off, then also you lose the data. Sometime you must have encountered the issue of you are writing a program, you have not saved the program, and suddenly the electricity goes off and you don't recover the program because it was there on main memory, so it was temporary only, you did not save it. All right, so that is an example. And the moment you save the program, they call it permanent storage. So what exactly is happening in permanent storage? Means what exactly is happening when you save the program? Actually the program or the file or the data that goes on the permanent storage, which is nothing but hard drives, or sometimes it's pen drive, or maybe USB storage devices, or sometimes CD ROM. So these are all permanent storage devices. Sometimes they call it secondary memory or auxiliary memory. So if you are storing something temporarily, then we'll be facing some issues like if we need that data on the later part at some other time, we cannot use it. But if we have data permanently, we can always use it later, because if you store something in your hard drive today, after 1 year or even after 10 years, you will be able to get the file back. So let us see the example of temporary storage. This is a very small program wherein we are expecting to calculate a simple interest. Now we know that for finding simple interest, all you need is PRN. P is principal amount, R is rate of interest, and N is number of years. So we have principal, rate, and year as three variables. So we have some values into it, 1007.85% and 3 years. So what we are going to do, we are going to multiply them together and we are going to divide by 100. This is an equation for finding out interest, simple interest. And then we'll be printing on monitor that this is nothing but simple interest equal to this interest. So when I run the program, I'm going to get some output, say simple interest equal to, let's say based on this value, it is rupees 235.50 paise. So this is what you are going to get as an output. Now is this a permanent output or temporary output? So this is a temporary output. Why? Because the moment program is terminated, the program is over. Now if you want to use this variable, interest variable, which is holding this 235, you cannot use it because the moment program terminates, these variables are of no use. They don't hold those values. So that is why they call it temporary memory or main memory, temporary storage, or sometimes the word used is volatile memory. So now this is the issue, you cannot hold the data permanently. Alright, so for that the second option is you go for permanent data storage. That means if you can store the output on hard drive in what form? You need to write the output in a file and then store the file on hard disk. So if you can do these stuff, then we call it a permanent storage or secondary memory or auxiliary memory. Now what is the benefit of doing it? What is the benefit of storing something into the file? So as I said, if you want to use this output, maybe after 1 year, maybe after a day, maybe after an hour, you can always use it because it is there on the hard drive. It is permanently there. So this is the benefit. So that is why we are going to learn this chapter, file management. And why it is file? Because this is about data. This is my data. Now data cannot be stored directly on the hard drive. You need to put them in a form of file. And once you have the data, all your data in a file, and then that file will be stored on the hard drive. So we'll be dealing with files over here. So that's why they call it file management or file handling. So all the data will be stored in files and files will be stored on hard disk. So examples are there, like banking sectors. If you want to calculate, like for example, you have some amount like 50,000 rupees that you have, you wish to make the fixed deposit of it for maybe 10 years. So you'll be creating a fixed deposit and then your bank will be giving you, compound interest, and after 10 years you'll be getting your money back. So for that, the data is to be stored permanently, because if the data is not stored permanently, what are you going to get at the end of 10 years? Because if the computer has got everything in main memory, that will be gone. Alright, so we need something which stores the data permanently. Like in education sector, the second example is there, wherein student result, for example, there are 8 semesters. Right. So in that case, after first semester, student is going to get the first mark sheet. After second semester, the student is going to get the second mark sheet. And let's say after 5 semesters, the student is having 5 mark sheet. And then the CPI, to calculate CPI, cumulative performance index, you need to have information about all previous mark sheet, like mark sheet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is only possible if you have those mark sheets permanently stored somewhere. Now financial transactions like credit and debit is like a passbook of your bank account. Like if you deposit 10,000 rupees in your bank, then it is going to be added into your amount, your balance. And then if you withdraw, let's say 5,000 rupees, then it is going to be deducted from your balance. So if these transactions are not stored permanently, then it would be very difficult for a bank to remember the final balance. So all those transactions need to be stored permanently. Inventory management, let's say we have, when we go to mall to buy something, and when you buy something, in fact, the inventory has been updated, means that particular item is gone, it is deducted. So in those kind of situation also, the data is to be stored permanently, so that at the end of the day, you can find it out what is the exact status of different items. So these are various examples. There are a number of different examples, but these are few examples showing why do you really need to store the data permanently, and permanently means what form? In form of files. Now what are those different operations that you can perform on a file? Because now it's all about file. So whatever you want to store, like you want to store student information, you want to store bank transaction, you want to store say FD information, you will be putting all those data in a particular file, and then that file will be stored. So like first thing is you need to create a file, then you need to open the file, then you need to read contents from the file, then if you want to write data into the file. Append is also an option. We'll be seeing the difference in a little while. What is the difference between write and append? Then closing the file, then randomly accessing a particular location in file. Like for example, there are 10 records, like 10 students information, but I don't want to go through all those information one by one. I want to directly jump to student number 7. So for that, you can go over there. and there is a concept like random memory access for secondary storage. So we'll be having that concept in our next video. And we have different functions for all these operations. So for creating and for opening, we have a function called fopen, and we'll see the difference. How you may think that why the same function is used for creating as well as opening. So we'll see in a little while what is the difference. Then for reading a character from a particular file, we have get character. For reading number, we have number means integer, we have get w. And if you want to read multiple variables like integer, float, character, sometimes even structure, then we use fscanf. And same way for writing something into the file, we have, if you want to write a particular character, it's a put c. If you want to write integer number into the file, it's put w. And if you want to write let's say 2-3 different data together, then it's fprintf. Then you can close the file once the transactions are over. And for random accessing, we have few functions like fseek, ftell, and rewind. So we'll not be going into the details because we have a very nice program in our next video explaining these things very easily. So now let's come to the mode of operation. So when you open, we have three different modes. I can open the file in read mode, I can open the file in write mode, and I can open the file in append mode. What is the difference? Let us start understanding one by one. Read mode means we want to read the contents from the file. So if the file does not exist, then there is no point in reading anything because file is not there. So what we are going to read? So in that case, it will return me the null pointer. But if the file is already there, then open it for reading means you can only read. You cannot change a single character. So data will remain unchanged. You cannot touch them. For writing now when you open the file in writing, now there are two options: file is available or file is not available. Let's take the second option. When you are trying to open the file in W mode, but file is not there. If the file is not there, it will create the file. So that's why in our previous slide, we had for writing also and for creating also, we have same function open. So when you open something in W mode, then it will create if the file is not there. And if the file is already there, then the previous data of that file will be overwritten. I repeat, if the file is already there, if it has got some data into it, and if we open the file in W mode, all those data will be erased. So when you use this W with opening the file, you have to be very careful whether the file is having some data or not. If the file is having some data, you are going to lose them. So be careful by using W mode. So safer mode is append mode. Why it is safe? Because in append mode, you don't lose those previous content. The previous contents will remain as it is, and then you can add new contents into it. So append mode holds the previous content, it retains the previous contents, and the new contents are added. So append mode is a safe mode. Now let us have a very small program saying how you can store different characters in a particular file. So for that, there is a syntax that you need to remember. You need to understand that file star fp. Now we had integer x, the character y, and float z. So same way, file is nothing but a data type. You need to write it in capital words, F-I-L-E. And then the star, in our previous chapter of pointer, we have seen how we declare a pointer. So fp is a file pointer pointing to this file data type. So this is how you write file star fp. And then what you need to do is open, f open, then file name and the mode. Over here the file name is test.txt and w. So the moment you open the file in W mode, we have seen that if the file is not there, it will create the file, and if the file is there, it will overwrite the previous content. So in any way, in both the cases, it will start fresh. So we have created a file test.txt. We are ready to write something into it, and there is nothing in the file at all. Now, so this is for write. So now what we are doing, there is a function called putc, and all you need to do is just provide a character and the file pointer. So file pointer is fp is pointing to what? Test.txt. So this h will be written in this file test.txt. E will be written in the file test.txt. LLO. So 5 characters will be written in test.txt. So hello will be written in test.txt, and then we close the file. So in your hard disk, in your current working directory, you will be finding one file called test.txt, and when you open, you will see that the contents of that file are nothing but HELLO, hello. Now there are 5 characters, but which are visible. 5 characters means HELLO are visible. But there is one more character which is not visible and very important. That character is at the end of the last character, one extra. Over here last character is O. So after O, an extra character called EOF you need to visualize. Though there is, you cannot see over here, but you need to visualize that there is a character called end of file over here. So that is very important. So we'll come to that part later on, and that is the terminating condition. So if you want to read something, if you want to read all these characters one by one, so what will be the terminating condition? That end of file. So just keep on reading until you find the end of file, EOF. So once this hello is written, then we close the file. Then next again I reopen the file, but this time the mode is read. Earlier it was write, means earlier we opened the file for writing and we did write, we wrote hello, and now we are opening it for reading because we closed the file. So reading means now you cannot use putc because you cannot print, you cannot write into the file if you have opened it in read mode. So now we are trying to read something from the file. So how can we read? So it is get c fp, like fp means a file pointer and get c is nothing but you take a character, first character, and put it in ch. So the first character h is read and put it in ch. Check that ch is end of file. No, it is not end of file. So this is true. So it will print ch. Ch is h. Then next time e, then l, then l, then o. So I'll be having hello in output, and after o, the character that I'm going to read will be EOF, end of file. So EOF is not equal to EOF, so that is false, and then it will come out and it will close the file. So by that time you'll be having hello in the output. So now next video is about, like, you cannot write putc 5, 10, 15 times. So for that you need to write a loop. Rather than having separate putc, we'll be writing a loop. So let us see how. So we have a file, the same file pointer, same file name, we are opening, creating in W mode. Then we are asking the user to enter a string, and then we read a string. So in output we are going to get enter a string, and supposing I am entering I love India, so that I love India, I space love space India will be stored in various locations of this thing, and we know that in string at the end a null character is inserted automatically. So now I'll be repeating a loop till I get the null character, and all these characters will be printed, will be written in the file stri. So I starts from 0. So I starts from 0, str0. What is str0? I is not equal to null. Yes, it is not equal to null. Put in the file. Then plus I. So I equal to 1. Space is not equal to null. Yes, it is not equal to null. So space is written. Then L, O, V, E. All these characters will be written. And when I becomes 12, then that will be null. So in that case, null is not equal to null. This is false. And it will come out. And then it will close the file. But by the time you have I love India already written in the file fp. Fp means test.txt. So if you open the file, then you will see that these are all the characters, I space love space India, and again the after a we have end of file. And then now let us try to read it. So we open the same program for reading purpose. We read one by one each character, ch equal to get cfp, and check whether end of file is not. So first it will read I, then space, then L, O, V, E, then India. So all these characters will be read and they will not be end of file. So they will be printed on monitor. But after A, the last character is EOF. So when this last character is read, it will be EOF not equal to EOF, false. And it will come out and close. But by the time you will get I love India in the output. So this is how you can handle entire string and put all those characters one by one into the file. So with this, we close this first session on the file management. In our next session, we'll be having little advanced topics like how to write and read integers from and to the file, how to write entire structures into the file, and what if I want to access a random element like 10th element or 20th element or 100th element from a file. So that we'll see in our next video. I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, enjoy C programming.